The wedding ring felt heavier than it should have. Ayesha stared at it as it rested on her trembling finger, its gold surface catching the soft glow of the dim hallway light. Just hours ago, she had said yes, in front of strangers, signed papers she barely read, and married a man 20 years older than her. Not for love. Not even for hope. But to save her family. Her father's medical bills had piled up like a storm that refused to pass. Her younger brother had dropped out of school to work odd jobs, and her mother had stopped smiling months ago. When the proposal came, a wealthy, widowed businessman offering marriage in exchange for financial security, Ayesha didn't see it as a choice. She saw it as survival. Now, standing in a house that didn't feel like home, she realized something far more terrifying than poverty. She didn't know how to live a life she didn't choose. The door at the end of the hallway creaked open. Ayesha? She turned quickly. It was him, Kamal. Her husband. 40 years old, calm-faced, tired-eyed, carrying the weight of years she hadn't lived yet. You don't have to stand there, he said gently. This is your home now. Home. The word echoed strangely. Ayesha forced a small nod. I'm just getting used to everything. He hesitated, as if wanting to say more, but instead gave a soft smile. Take your time. And, there's someone I'd like you to meet. Before she could ask, a small figure peeked from behind him. A girl. Maybe 8 years old. Big, curious eyes. Messy hair tied into a loose ponytail. A stuffed rabbit clutched tightly in her arms. This is Hira, Kamal said. My daughter. Ayesha froze. She had known he had a child. It was part of the arrangement. But knowing and facing were two different things. Hira stepped forward slowly, studying Ayesha like she was a puzzle. Are you, my new mother? She asked. The question hit harder than anything else that day. Ayesha opened her mouth, but no words came out. Because she didn't know the answer herself. The days that followed were quiet, almost painfully so. Ayesha tried to fit into her new role like someone wearing clothes that didn't belong to them. She cooked, cleaned, and stayed polite, but there was always a distance, a wall she couldn't break. Kamal was kind, almost too kind. He never demanded anything from her, never raised his voice. It made her feel even more guilty. And Hira was different. She followed Ayesha around like a shadow, asking questions, offering drawings, telling stories about school. At first, Ayesha kept her responses short. That's nice. I'm busy right now. She didn't mean to be cold. She just didn't know how to be anything else. One evening, as Ayesha stood in the kitchen stirring a pot absent-mindedly, she felt a small tug on her dress. She looked down. Hira was holding a piece of paper. I made this for you, she said, her voice full of excitement. Ayesha took it. It was a drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands under a bright yellow sun. This is me, Hira pointed. And this is Baba, and this is you. Ayesha's chest tightened. You drew me? She asked quietly. Hira nodded proudly. Because now we're a family. Family. A word Ayesha had sacrificed herself for, but never expected to feel. She forced a smile. It's very nice. But Hira's smile faded just a little. Because children always notice the things adults try to hide. That night, Ayesha couldn't sleep. She kept staring at the drawing on her bedside table. Why did it bother her so much? Why did a child's simple belief feel heavier than all her responsibilities? The answer came slowly, painfully. Because Hira wasn't pretending. She truly believed Ayesha was her mother. And Ayesha was just pretending to belong. The turning point came on a rainy afternoon. The sky had darkened early, and thunder rolled through the air. Ayesha was folding clothes when she heard a loud crash followed by a cry. Hira! She ran toward the sound. Hira was on the floor near the staircase, tears streaming down her face. My arm hurts, she sobbed. Panic shot through Ayesha. Without thinking, she rushed forward, kneeling beside her. It's okay, I'm here. I'm here. She carefully lifted Hira, holding her close. For the first time, it wasn't obligation. It was instinct. At the hospital, as Hira clung to her, refusing to let go, Ayesha felt something shift inside her. She wouldn't let anyone else touch her, Kamal said softly. She kept calling your name. Ayesha looked down at the small hand gripping hers tightly. Don't go, Hira whispered weakly. And something broke. Not in pain. But in warmth. In truth. In something she had been holding back for too long. I'm not going anywhere, Ayesha said, her voice trembling. I promise. And for the first time, she meant it. The days after that felt different. Not dramatically. Not magically. But genuinely. Ayesha started sitting with Hira while she did her homework. She listened to her stories, really listened. She laughed at her silly jokes, braided her hair in the mornings, and kissed her forehead before bed. One night, as she tucked Hira in, the little girl looked up at her with sleepy eyes. You're not going to leave, right? She asked. Ayesha swallowed. No, she said softly. I'm not. Hira smiled and closed her eyes. Good, because I love you. The words lingered in the air. Ayesha sat there long after Hira had fallen asleep. Tears rolled down her cheeks silently. Because somewhere along the way, she had fallen in love too. Not the kind she had feared. Not the kind forced by circumstances. But the kind that grows quietly, through small moments, shared pain, and genuine care. Weeks later, Ayesha stood in the same hallway where everything had begun. But this time, the house felt different. Warmer. Alive. Kamal approached her, holding a cup of tea. You've changed, he said gently. She smiled. So has everything else. He hesitated. I never expected anything from you. I just wanted Hira to have someone. Ayesha looked toward Hira's room. She didn't just get someone, she said softly. She gave me something too. What's that? Ayesha took a deep breath. A reason to stay. Kamal's eyes softened, understanding more than she said. That night, as Ayesha placed the old drawing back on the table, she picked up a pen. Carefully, she added something new. A fourth figure. A bigger sun. And underneath, she wrote one word. Family. Because sometimes, the choices we make out of desperation lead us to the love we never believed we deserved. And sometimes, it takes a child's pure heart to teach us how to feel again.